What is up guys, Sandeep here, and today we're going to be talking about medicine, and more specifically how I got into medical school and the journey it took me to finally get in. So last year when I finished, I think it was my AS exams, you apply through UCAS for university, and somehow I was convinced to study medicine, probably by my Asian parents. So I went through the UCAS process, applied to the universities UCL, Cardiff, Edinburgh and Nottingham. So you get 4 choices, those were my 4. So applying to those universities and doing my UK CAT score, I got an average of 625, which back then was below average, so my chances of actually getting to medical school at this point, which was pretty early on in the year, was already really slim, which kind of sucks. But I persevered and I got one interview with Cardiff, and I thought it went pretty well, that interview, to be fair. But at the end of the day, I still got no offer from any university. So yeah, that was a bit of a shit year. I also had to do the BMAT to get into UCL, which I also flopped. So that was also another bummer. Knowing I got no offers for medicine this year, I was able to grind out my A-level exams. I eventually got an A star in biology, an A in chemistry and an A in maths. And those are basically the medicine threesome. If you know, you know. Yeah. So it came to results day, I knew my grades, but there was basically no clearing for medicine. That was a real struggle on the day. And at that point I knew I was going to have to take a gap year, which back then seemed really shit, because it seems like gap years are for those that don't really know what they want to do in the future, but I knew my heart at this point was set on medicine. So I just took it how it was and got along with it. Now the second time around when applying for medicine, I did the whole process again, went through UCAS, personal statements, did the UK CAT and not the BMAT this time, lesson learnt. And I applied to universities that I felt that I could get into. So Manchester, Nottingham again, where else? Liverpool and Birmingham. So I did the UK CAT again, like I said, and I got an average of 725, which was above average and a lot better from what I did previously. 700 and above is generally what you guys want to aim for to even get considered really for medicine. There are loads of people that do get with lower grades, but just to be on the safe side, you want to get 700 plus, realistically. So at this point, it was a really good start to the academic year. I had a head start compared to everyone else that would be reapplying to medicine again. I applied through UCAS and I basically got all my interviews. They were up and down, and I'll probably go through the interview process for medicine at a later point. But that happened and I got 3 offers and 1 rejection, but 3 offers is the main point. I got Nottingham, Manchester and Liverpool, and got rejected from Birmingham, but I don't really care at this point. I got 3 offers, which would be unconditional because I've got the grades. So all is good. And now we just have to basically wait until September when university starts, and I'm pretty much sorted for the rest of the year. I can do what I want. Now throughout the whole 2 years of applying for medicine, basically 2 rounds of applying for medicine, I feel like I made a load of mistakes and a load of decently good things that I did. I've written down quite a few things that I think are pretty important to consider when applying to medicine and all of that. So step number 1 is to actually think about whether you want to do medicine. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, before I applied through UCAS at the start of year 13, I really wanted to do sports science. I was really into my gym and fitness and stuff like that, so I thought sports science was the way to go for me. And I'm pretty sure my parents were really against this at the time. They really pushed me, being Indian parents, to study medicine, and I'm pretty sure they decided that when I was a fetus. Throughout the whole of year 12 and a bit of 13, they were just telling me, apply for medicine, just do it, and you can specialise in sports science after. So not gonna lie, that was a really big influence on my decision to study medicine initially, but initially is the key point here. Right before I applied for medicine in year 13, I did a few weeks of work experience in a hospital and did some caring experience as well. If medicine doesn't excite you during your work experience, then take that to note when you are applying for medicine. So point number one, make sure you actually want to study medicine. Do some work experience and talk to people, talk to doctors, talk to medical students. That will be your biggest help when deciding to do medicine. Point number two, do your fucking research when applying to university. The first time round I applied to university, I didn't visit any of the universities. I didn't know where half these universities were. I didn't know anything about the course or anything at all. I knew nothing. It's really funny, like at the gym, I met a doctor who went to the Cardiff University and we were just talking and he was like, you should apply there. So I applied there, and that was probably the biggest mistake that I did. I did no research and that fucked me up for the year. I didn't apply to universities that were strongest to my ability, so I got really good GCSEs, I got really good ASs, but a pretty bad UK CAT, and that's something that you should really check before you apply to specific universities. Yeah, I really did fuck up that first time. Third point, make sure you bang out your grades. I know ASs don't seem important, and I think they've changed where you do AS and A2 at the beginning of year 13. But that's not the point. You still have to get your grades, otherwise universities won't consider you as an applicant at all. Make sure you get your grades, otherwise medicine is not gonna happen. My next point is about the UK CAT and BMAT. This was quite a big learning point for me when applying the first time and second time round. So the first time round I applied to 3 UK CAT universities and 1 BMAT university. Quite a few of my friends actually applied to 2 BMAT universities and 2 UK CAT universities, and it worked out for some of them but didn't work out for others as well. A lot more universities use the UK CAT to assess applicants. It's a lot easier compared to BMAT. Both are really bullshit exams, but you gotta suck it up and just do it. The UK CAT is basically an aptitude test, so it tests different things like verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning. If you've done the 11 plus, it's basically that, but it's on steroids. The BMAT is more of a knowledgeable test, so it's more fair. It tests your logic, your sciences, and your ability to form an argument, which clearly I was pretty bad at, but who cares. The BMAT is a lot harder than the UK CAT, as the top universities use it as a way of sieving through the applicants and cutting them out. Focus on applying to UK CAT universities, as they are a lot easier to get into compared to the BMAT ones. Side note, there are some universities that don't require either the BMAT or the UK CAT. The second time round I did apply to med school, I made sure that I didn't apply to any BMAT universities, because I knew I would flop it again. There's no point wasting an option when you only have 4, and that's so little when applying to university. I made sure I did my research to see which universities look at lower-ish UK CAT scores, and it played to my advantage. I got all my interviews and most of my offers. So that's really key when applying to university. Do your research, bang out your grades, and do the other exams as well. Fucking medicine is hard to get into. Seriously. There is so much to talk about with medicine and applying to medical school, the do's and don'ts, in a bit more detail, and I'll probably go through that later in videos later on in the future. I will probably make somewhat of a fitness video later on, or I can talk about Hollister or gap year adventures / what I did in another video as well. Just let me know what you guys want to hear and I will consider it later on. I really hope this did help you guys. I know it was a bit random, But it was fun.